As I said in the beginning, maybe in 5 years' time, one or two people will buy my next book and say, hey, it's written by a human. Look at that. Wonderful. Oh, look at that. There is a typo in here. Okay. I don't know. There might be a very, very big place for me in the next few years where I can sort of show up and talk to humans. Like, hey, let's get together in a small event. And then, I can express emotions and my personal experiences. And you sort of know that this is a human talking. You'll miss that a little bit. Eventually, the majority of the market is going to be like cars. Going to be mass-produced, very cheap, very efficient. It works, right?
Because I think sometimes we underestimate what human beings actually want in an experience. I remember this story of a friend of mine that came to my office many years ago, and he tells the story of the CEO of a record store standing above the floor and saying, people will always come to my store because people love music. Now, on the surface of it, his hypothesis seems to be true because people do love music. It's conceivable to believe that people will always love music. But they don't love traveling for an hour in the rain and getting in a car to get a plastic disc.
Correct.
What they wanted was music. What they didn't want is evidently plastic discs that they had to travel for miles for. And I think about that when we think about like public speaking and the Drake show and all of these things. Like what people actually are coming for, even with this podcast, is probably like information. But do they really need us anymore for that information when there's going to be a sentient being that's significantly smarter than at least me and a little bit smarter than you? So,
so kind. so you're spot on. You are spot on. And actually, this is the reason why I'm so grateful that you're hosting this, because the truth is the genie's out of the bottle. Okay. So, people tell me, is AI game over? For our way of life, it is. Okay. For everything we've known, this is a very disruptive moment where maybe not tomorrow, but in the near future, our way of life will differ. Okay. What will happen? What I'm asking people to do is to start considering what that means to your life. What I'm asking governments to do I'm screaming is, don't wait until the first patient. Start doing something about it. We're about to see mass job losses. We're about to see, replacements of categories of jobs at large. Okay. Yeah, it may take a year. It may take 7. It doesn't matter how long it takes, but it's about to happen. Are you ready? And I have a very, very clear call to action for governments. I'm saying tax AI powered businesses at 98%, right? So suddenly you do what the open letter was trying to do, slow them down a little bit, and at the same time, get enough money to pay for all of those people that will be disrupted by the technology, right?
The open letter, for anybody that doesn't know, was a letter signed by the likes of Elon Musk and a lot of sort of industry leaders calling for AI to be stopped until we could basically figure out what the hell's going on.
Absolutely.
And put legislation in place. You're saying tax those companies 98%, give the money to the humans that are going to be displaced.
Or give the money to other humans that can build control code, that can figure out how we can stay safe.
This sounds like an emergency.
How do I say this? You remember when you played Tetris?
Yeah.
Okay. When you were playing Tetris, there was, always one block that you placed wrong. And once you placed that block wrong, the game was no longer easier.